when I started jiu-jitsu and I started thinking that like maybe I can try to pursue this if I give my all into it. When I brought it up to my mom was the first person to be like, yeah, fucking do it.
Yeah.
Like, go for it. Like I know you'll work hard and try to achieve it. So go ahead and do it. And it's like when I told my grandparents, you know, tears go down their eyes. They're like, I can't believe this. Like they basically think, you know, I mean, who the hell knew what could happen from it? You know, I had no idea.
Yeah, there's no prerequisites for the life insurance. Like every other thing in the financial services industry, you got to get a Series 63, all those things that are like extensive testing. Life insurance is just a license. So and that license, acquiring it is just literally like an online course. Yeah. And then there's no cap though. You know what I mean? So you get in, sell as much life insurance as possible. You get you could either broker, so you could sell for all the individual companies, or you can work with like a State Farm, like a captive company.
And what do you do?
And that's what I started as. And then you can work your way up in one of those captive organizations and be like a McDonald's or something like that, opening up your own franchise. So like 2 years into running my own shit here in Chicago.
Sick, man.
But yeah, and
that's
then
awesome.
my partner, or my partner now, but my previous, you know, CEO who I worked for when I first started. I started out in Pittsburgh. He got me into jiu-jitsu. So he had mats in his office. He had an actual mat
That's
room.
how you started?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
He had an actual mat room in his office. So I'm 18, 19 years old. I'm just selling insurance. And he calls me up, you know, one night. He's like, hey, man, when you wake up tomorrow, meet me at the office before you go start door knocking. Because when I sold insurance,
it was like door to door?
It was door to door when I did it. Then COVID hit. All these kids have it so easy now. You know what I mean? So it's like, it'd basically be like, in jiu-jitsu terms, like when everybody was like leg locking and then like doing a tournament where there's no leg locks allowed, where it's like, I don't know if that would be easier, but basically now it's just all virtual. So there's no driving. I drove everywhere, had to knock on people's like
What's
guns.
Everything's like cold calling now or something?
No, ours isn't cold calling. So we're the only unionized life insurance company in the nation. So that's where we have like a competitive advantage of saying like, hey, look, we're a union. We have union leads, because we'll be able to like tell other unions, hey, look, we're in a union, you're in a union, which is really weird because, you know, we're full capitalism and usually unions are opposed to that. So, but we're able to say, hey, look, we're a financial union. Unions love saying or whatever union. So it's not completely cold. It's not like hot, but definitely way different. But I get into it and I meet him at the office one day. We're going to the mat room. I wrestled a year in Western PA, which has pretty good wrestling, like pretty good wrestling.
East Coast is pretty good.
Yeah,
usually.
yeah. So like some of the kids, like Spencer Lee, we grew up in the same fucking like area.
No way, really?
Yeah.
So also, is this a good distance? Is this a good distance for the mic, or do I got to bring it
Yes.
closer?
No. I tested it out with him. So hearing what talking to it.
Yo.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Yeah, we're still good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still decent. Good eye though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people.
Like, dude, with my mic, we got to like be super close. I don't know.
Yeah. No. This will pick up fine. So I meet him up at the office one day, and I figure we're gonna talk or something like that. I knew we'd be work out a little bit, but I didn't know what we'd be getting into. But he's telling me about jiu-jitsu, shows me like how to fucking do like a knee slice pass, and then we just start live rolling.
Wow.
And he hit me with like 10 straight ankle locks, and I couldn't walk the next day because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And that was my introduction to jiu-jitsu. I fell in love, but it was like he teased me with it. He was like, all right, you know what I mean? I fell in love. I wanted to do it all the time, but then it was like, oh, you just focus on sales. And once your sales are up, then we can consistently train. But I get 2 years into the business, moved to Lincoln, Nebraska, and that's where I actually started doing my official training, and it was in a gi.
Why Nebraska?
So he gave me so I focused on sales like he told me to, blew it up, and then he was like, all right, I'm going to give you 2 choices, Tampa, Florida, or Lincoln.
Nebraska seems like a great choice.
Lincoln, Nebraska.
Versus Tampa?
Yeah. And I asked him, I was like, I personally don't care. All I care about is making money. And he was like, okay, well, then go to Lincoln because everybody goes to Tampa. Yeah.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
I was like, okay, fine. Go to Lincoln, start training in the gi there. And I think I was learning the straight ankle locks more, brought them back to the office. And if anybody were ever late to my meetings, I would hypothetically, hypothetically, you would need to roll with me. You know what I mean? So technically speaking, if anybody's involved in the company, that's hypothetically
that would
speaking.
be a funny situation if you did it.
If it did happen, and so hypothetically, I did roll with one of the guys that was late to the meetings, and hypothetically, he blew my meniscus out.
Oh,
so got the meniscus out, but my partner had some connections, and I did stem cell, and
so no surgery, just stem cell injections.
Well, I did the stem cell and thought, you know what, I'm 21 years old. I'm invincible already, and the stem cell basically just made me into the Hulk. So I started training probably 2 days after the meniscus blew out, and it was a bucket handle tear, come to find out. So the bucket handle is the one that flips back.
Yep.
And it would lock. And then, like, even now when I listen to, like, Nicky Ryan, and he's like, yeah, it's just pains in the mind. And I feel like such a bitch because I'm like, man, those guys down there, I know they get crazy injuries and they just go through them. I, like, as soon as something, like, starts locking up, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm taking off.
Meniscus is definitely a different one because, like, when it locks, it's locking.
Yeah, it's locked. I'm like, there's no way these guys are just having, like, some type of tear like that. So I ended up just going a year of, like, lightly training through and, like, just trying to tell myself, like, don't be a bitch, just train, like, and, like, it just would keep locking and getting worse and, like, keep popping, and, like, I guess it would just eventually grind it up to the point where I get another MRI, and it was, like, just, like, they said it looked like rocks. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
They said it was just all torn up, and there was no hope, so they did I want to say it's a
meniscectomy,
yeah, so they took out, like, 70-80%, and then I took, and I even now I'm taking a round of peptides, BPC 157 and TB 5. It's called the Wolverine mix.
Wolverine molecule, whatever.
Exactly.
Whatever, yeah.
So that helps a lot with stuff because I've got like tendonitis going on in my thumb right now, plus the meniscus.
That's pretty
even
good for
now.
like just general recovery in general, like.
Yeah, especially because I've got this philosophy of like I don't get paid from jiu-jitsu, and that's one of the big things I want to talk about, like on the podcast, is like. You know, how you've been able to, because you're fully monetized off jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
that's
how I live.
Like, you live off jiu-jitsu. Yeah. What's first off, just jumping right in. First off, for those of you that don't know, this is Damien Anderson, and he's from B Team.
From B Team, yeah.
I was trying to do where's your black belt from?
So I'm not a black belt.
Okay, I was going to say.
I'm not a black belt.
When you take your black belt, who will you take it from?
Probably Nicky Ryan.
Okay.
Just because, like, so basically, I got my brown belt from Nicky, but that's just because we're like friends. Like, he's my housemate.
Yeah.
And you know, we're just boys. But it's like I don't have one instructor anymore. It's all of us are working on different problems. We're all you know, creating the solutions together.
Yeah.
You know, bouncing ideas off of each other. So there's no one head coach. Like, Craig is like the leader of B Team.
Yeah.
But as far as like problem solving, we're all playing around. We're all like working on stuff together. Yeah.
That's insane. So brown belt, housemate, teammates, and you guys can definitely tell. You know what I mean? I love. I've been following the B Team page just in general. Just the vibe that you guys bring to the jiu-jitsu culture. It's incredible.
It's like bros being dudes.
Yeah, exactly. The more I got like involved in jiu-jitsu, I was like, this is just a bunch of killer nerds. And like, but you guys bring a different, like, it's not like you guys aren't like the typical nerdy jiu-jitsu guy. I'm not. Hopefully, you guys don't start commenting and be like, shut up, I'll tap you out. You would tap me out, but the vibe I get is like most of the culture is like kind of like the nerdy guys that now developed into like killers, but you guys are like a step above that, where it's like not like nerdy, but like not full jock, where you guys are just like egotistical assholes. Because like when I really, from watching a lot of content, I think a lot of guys would think surface level, you guys are like, there might be a little bit of ego there, but like you guys are just pretty genuine, you know what I mean, dudes that just aren't as like, some guys just take the shit like way too serious and shit like that. But at the same time, the level of competitiveness and what you guys bring to the stage, it's actually pretty like, it's pretty impressive. You know what I mean? Like how you're able to monetize, live off of it. And now you guys are starting to, I would imagine, make B Team into like a franchise.
So to be honest, I actually have no financial stake in B Team.
Okay.
That's so basically the team had split. Maybe I fucked up a little bit, but the team had split. I stayed with New Wave because Gary Tonin was my coach. He had his title fight coming up, and I didn't want to leave. So then the guys that left started up B Team, and they're all financially, they have a stake in it. I actually left a couple months after.
Wow.
Yeah, just so you know, just culture clashes pretty much, and I decided to go to B Team.
Well, I was about to start watching this to try to, I was like, you know what, today's just been so slammed. I was like, let me try to get some more information. But I like to try to maintain a balance when I do my podcast, because I find they go smoother, of like a little bit of like knowing the guests.
I mean, I listened to your podcast actually on the way here. I was like, oh shit, I don't even know.
I don't know shit. Yeah,
I was like, I listened to actually, I don't know the name, but it's the dude that actually pretty cool dude. I think he's young too. 25 is the dude that has the printing company, the screen print, 4 logos.
Yeah.
Logos, dude.
Humzak.
That guy. Yeah. I was listening to that. I was like, dude, this is a pretty dope podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, super, super interesting. Yeah. Hear you guys go back and forth.
Yeah, man. I try to like not copy Joe Rogan completely, but at the same time, I try to have like the nonchalant vibe and shit like that. Just because I like to just, one, my business is built around having conversations. Selling life insurance is built around having a genuine conversation. But I actually just like learning shit. You know what I mean? So I just try to keep it simple and things like that. So B team cultures are clashing and things like that. You move over to B team, and through your experience, because obviously this is, if anybody gets you on a podcast, they're definitely capitalizing on just the animosity that occurs between the two. I guess to just further educate the average listener on the split, and more so like you guys probably get all the time, like why the split.
Yeah, so can't really talk about it too much, just because like we kind of agreed that. You know,
I've seen texts of like, hey, look, we're not putting that out there.
Yeah, trying to just keep it, just trying to let it die down. You know, like Craig has said, it's really like Nicky Ryan's thing to talk about if he wants to talk about it. Or like, yeah, I mean, can't really get too much.
No, you're good. You're good. You're 100% good. I guess, well, one question I do have, and you don't have to answer it, is there was the huge like argument going on probably a month or two ago between Natty Rod or Nicky Rod. And now I'm like fucking like pissed because I love like to see the firebacks, but like now Gordon's like quiet. So it's like, obviously it came out, he did the more plates, more dates, came back, he's the craziest looking Natty I've ever seen, but he's Natty, you know what I mean?
He's natty,
Dude's Natty. As soon as I saw it, because before I was like, all right, that dude, he's got to be, but like Derek is a genius when it comes to like the dude knows what he's talking about. So, but to see Gordon not like respond anymore, does it just speak for itself?
Man, I think so. Like, man, all right. So just to preface this, it was like Nicky Rod told me since I've met him, he's Natty, right?
Yeah.
Up until maybe a year ago, I was like, all right, stop fucking with me. Like, I was like, okay, you're Natty, you're Natty.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then Gordon starts calling him out and shit, and then he agreed to take the drug test, and like the entire time Nicky Rod's always like, yeah, I'm Natty, like I don't take anything, like literally he takes creatine and protein, right?
Yeah.
And then thing is, Nicky Rod's not also known for his intellectual decisions, right?
Yeah.
So he decides that he's gonna do this drug test, and I was talking to Nicky. I remember I was like, man, I hope he's not fucking with us, because like, imagine he takes this drug test and it just comes out positive.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like,
yeah.
Come on. But yeah, he passed with flying colors pretty much. Obviously, he has like some cholesterol issues. I don't know if you watched the video, but he has like high blood pressure or high cholesterol.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And seeing the post falling up.
Exactly.
not positive for like T, but positive for cholesterol shit like that.
Yeah. But I mean, came out clean, and then the thing is, like, Gordon had said, he's like, all right, if you're Natty, then why don't you agree to take USADA drug testing up until like the next ADCC. He's like take this random drug test until the next ADCC. And then Nicky Rod immediately was like, okay, sure, I'll take the drug test. Just if I fail, or every drug test that I pass, you give me $10,000, and if I fail, I give everything back to you. And then Gordon was like, you think I'm stupid? He's like, you're just gonna either
cycle off.
Yeah, you're just gonna cycle off and then not compete in ADCC. And then Nicky Rod's just like, okay, whatever. But the thing is like USADA drug testing is like next level. You have to message them like where you're going to be training in the next 24 hours, like if you're traveling, and it's like if you fuck these things up, then it's like a failed drug test.
Have you had to, so your MMA, is it a pro MMA?
It was amateur MMA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no
drug testing.
Okay.
Yeah, I go pro in August.
Okay.
So the only reason, I was going to go pro right away, but there's a big Muay Thai tournament in June, which is called TBA. It's like supposed to be the largest amateur Muay Thai tournament in North America.
Yeah.
And once you go pro with anything pro with strikes, you can no longer fight amateur Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So since I don't have any striking under my belt, I stayed amateur for that fight.
Yeah.
I'll fight this Muay Thai tournament in June, then go pro in August after that. So I wanted something just to make sure that I felt okay striking, and then I'll do the Muay Thai tournament, amateur Muay Thai tournament, just to get more striking underneath my belt, and then I'll go pro MMA in August.
Do you still talk to Gary Toner?
No. We pretty much all forms of communication are pretty much shut off between New Wave and B Team. There's really nothing Like there's no reason to talk to them. We don't hang out with them.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah.
So I went to Austin probably 4 to 6 months ago.
Oh yeah. Where'd you?
And I stayed at some hotel. It was for business. Stayed
Okay.
at some hotel, skirted away for a jiu-jitsu session, and I think I trained at the tip, like a lower level of. I went to New Wave expecting
Okay,
like.
it might have been Henzo Gracie.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, Gordon Ryan's going to be there. This will be great for publicity. It'll, you know what I mean? It'll look great. Not the case. It was just like a white belt, blue belt, type of class.
Teaching?
It was, Donaher was cool.
Okay,
he was there. He
he
was
was
cool.
there.
So that was a cool experience. Got a cool pick with him, but not realizing now, because you know what I mean. I've only been a year and a half in, probably year and a half coming up on. It'll be 2 years later this fall with 10 Planet Lombard.
Okay.
So I would say I'm probably like almost 2 years into training. You know what I mean? Because it was 6 months of gi training in Lincoln, Nebraska before I blew my knee out. But now seeing some of these guys, Jaden and Katie, go down and beat in like the high level of guys that you have like actually
at the gym.
At the gym is like, it's impressive. But I also know, you know what I mean? Like your life is on the line with your jiu-jitsu career. So for some white belt or blue belt like myself to like come down and like you guys like train with and like you were saying earlier, like, you know what I mean? Maybe if they spaz and you know what I mean, tweak or something like that and you hurt a knee, or like I think I like the post, Craig did about like cleanliness or something like that. If you have like
come with some
we're gonna find out, and you could potentially compromise our careers. And I really never considered the legitimacy of that, but it's still cool to see like you guys be training with like anybody, like just people pull up and show up, and like like another guy I had on my podcast, Chris Wojcik. He's a pretty decent.
Oh yeah, he's there
black
now.
belt.
He's actually he's at B team right now. I think he'll be there for another month.
Yeah, and
I trained with him for the first time like maybe 2 days ago.
Dude,
yeah.
it's crazy the level. Yeah, he's a beast, but it's crazy the level talent that you guys have down. Because I look at him as like one of the best in Illinois. But just to see J-Rod, Nicky Rod's little brother, did messing around and hit a nice like fucking trip,
like foot sweep.
Yeah, a little foot sweep on him, and I'm like, dude, J-Rod hasn't been training too long. Because if Nicky Rod hasn't been training long,
Nicky Rod's been training for 5 years. I think Jay's been training for 2.
And he's got to, and just to see him compete with black belts,
those
you know
guys
what I mean?
Freaks.
Like,
yeah, those guys are freaks.
It's insane.
Yeah. Honestly, like you ask, what pisses me off too is like, all right, so you have Nicky Rod that took silver at ADCC, which is our Olympics, right? The biggest, biggest tournament in jiu-jitsu. Took silver with like 18 months of jiu-jitsu, so less than 2 years, a year and a half. You have J-Rod who wins biggest trials with like 18 months of jiu-jitsu also. But you ask them a basic move like a double kuchi, which is like for us, like if you came from Danaher, like if everyone knows what a double kuchi is. It's like these are simple moves that were taught to us that like at white belt level pretty much. They have no idea what it is. You ask them what a reverse De La Hiva is, they have no idea what it is. You ask them what De La Hiva is, it's like these positions that are so basic, they have no clue. And I'm like, how the fuck did you make it like this far? And then J-Rod is always like, we're built different. That's all.
Yeah, he's so hilarious.
Man, yeah. So those guys are freaks in nature for
sure. Absolute freak. And I the more I'm watching Nicky Rod and just watching this last, was it the EBI roll set that him and Gordon rolled last?
EBI, yeah. It was a UFC like super fight on UFC, but it was EBI rule. So it was like I think 20 minutes sub only, and then went to EBI overtime, which Nicky Rod did really well. He popped Gordon.
Yeah, bro. It's getting closer and closer, and so like I'm excited to see the next time they roll, because every time I ask Wagner, I'm like, dude, who do you think is gonna get Gordon?
What did he say?
I want to say he said Nicky Rod.
I mean,
he looks like the most promising.
That's the thing, man. It's like, all right, you take somebody like Gordon, who's like the best in the world right now, but he's like 15 years in. You take Nicky Rod, who's technically a brown belt, but only 5 years in. It's like, give him more time. It's like some people, I know Gordon will kind of shit on Nicky Rod's like record right now. He's like, you went X and X. I don't even know what it is. But it's like, okay, well, what were you doing? Who are you fighting 5 years in? It's like, the level is just different that he's competing on. Like, give the man a break. But give it a few years. He could have arguably beat him this last event.
Yeah.
So he's getting closer. He's getting better. I think no one can stay on top forever.
Yeah.
So it's up to Gordon. Like I think like smartest decision for him is probably just to retire at some point, maybe next ADCC, or like just while he's on top. But if you continue to keep training, it's like it's only a matter of time before someone catches up. It's like no one can truly stay there forever.
Yeah.
Right. So I think Nicky Rod's probably the next person to do it. I don't know when it could happen, but he's getting closer for sure.
And let's just jump back into you. You know what I mean? Kind of go the unconventional route. Where were you born and raised?
So I was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, grew up in New Jersey, and yeah, lived in North Brunswick. I stayed there for up until middle school. Then I lived in North Jersey with my grandparents. Got into like not trouble, but like so basically in North Brunswick, it's a pretty diverse like town, and then when it goes to middle school, the 4 elementary schools kind of come together, and you know, I kind of started slacking off a little bit, getting kind of mixed up with like drama a little bit, and then so I moved with my grandparents up north, which is a wealthier neighborhood, but it's just like a great school system. Yeah. So I went there for 3 years, and then I moved back down south, but went to a private high school called St. Joe's, and then went to school there. So it was really just for schooling, the school system. Yeah. And I didn't do jiu-jitsu. I played football and lacrosse my entire life pretty much, and then I wrestled as well. But wrestling back then for me was just rec wrestling in the winter, and so I didn't really take it too seriously. I was very average, maybe slightly above average, but nothing special. Yeah. And after high school, I kind of just got fat. I just, was eating as if I was an athlete, but not training the same way that I was, because I was always in sports, like usually a 3-sport athlete year round. So there was always something keeping me in shape. Yeah. And then when I went to college, still eating, getting chubby, and then I found jiu-jitsu. Gary Tonin was the head coach there, and then that's how I started jiu-jitsu, and then I kind of fell in love with it. I thought I wanted to. I wasn't afraid of hard work was the thing. Yeah. Like I was willing to work hard at anything that I did. So I have like a thing where I get like hyper obsessive about the things that I'm passionate about. So that could be sports, it could be like anything. But so I found jiu-jitsu. I was training pretty regularly, like 6-7 times a week from the get-go, just because I liked it. I didn't know that people were trying. I didn't even know how big Gary was at the time. Gordon wasn't anything yet. He was still a pro belt with no name. Yeah. And he had asked me like 6 months in, after training pretty consistently, they're like, are you trying to do this professionally? And I was like, I kind of scoffed at it, laughed a little bit. I was like, I don't even think that was a thing. And they're like, yeah, that's what we're doing. And then I started to see Gordon kind of rise a little bit, win some tournaments here and there. He was doing bet matches at the time. So it was like, maybe he was doing like, oh, I'll bet you $2,000, I'll sub you. And then the next one was like, I'll bet $10,000 that I'll sub you and you won't sub me. So then he had that match coming up with somebody. And like, I was like, oh, wow, this is, you guys are taking this pretty seriously. And he's like, yeah, if you want to do this as well, you have to start training under John Danaher in the city. So then I started training in the city Monday through Friday. I still, at that time, I couldn't make it to the city because I would work on the weekends, and I was still in college as well. So it was hell, man. I had
Did you have to pay all that money in tolls like they talk about? I remember them talking about.
So like I couldn't save money at the time. Like so basically I was a caddy Saturday and Sundays at a country club. So I'd make good cash, but it pretty much just all went for travel and food up into the city. Yeah. So yeah, at the time I wasn't traveling with them to the city. When I was at college, I took the train, so I had to catch like the 6:05 train or whatever, try to make it by 7:30, 7:45. Class really started at 8, but at that time I didn't really know I was just gonna get there early. So then I'd have to catch the 6:05 train. I trained the first session, then in between sessions I'd eat, I'd do some schoolwork, train a second session, I'd catch the train down, do more schoolwork, then I'd have classes between like 4 p.m. and 7 p.m., somewhere around there. I took a lot of online classes that semester too. And then I would go back to Gary's for 7:30 class, then train 8:30. And then that was like Monday through Friday. And I couldn't train Saturday and Sunday. And I remember asking like Gordon and Gary, I was like, hey, like I feel like I need to get better at this. Like I'm not getting better as quickly as I can. And they're like, you're never going to catch us because you're just not training enough. You're not training as much as we are. So then I was like, shit, I don't know what to do. Then because I need to freaking make some money to use this to get the train to the city to eat out there, and I'm like a broke college kid, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So then Gary needed a manager at the time, and a manager for his gym. Like he was just running his gym, and so I just stepped up as a manager, started paying me a little bit, and that allowed me to train Saturday and Sunday. But more importantly, it taught me how to actually, like, you know, the systems of a brick and mortar business for jiu-jitsu. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was a college kid, whatever, but I kind of just figured it out. And then that gave me, I did that for like 3 years, and then I was training full time. And then 3 years after that, I decided to open up my gym now. So I have a gym in Jersey called B Team New Jersey. We just rebranded,
Yeah.
So initially it was called All in BJJ, but we outgrew our old spot. We were expanding to a bigger location, and then one of my students actually was just like, you ever thought about becoming a B Team gym, like B Team NJ? And I was like, no, but that's a fucking great idea.
Yeah, it's
like,
phenomenal.
why wouldn't I do that? So then I brought it to the guys, and they were all for it. They're like, yeah, dude, do it. And I was like, shit. So then we became B Team New Jersey. So that's what we have now.
So who's the like boots on the ground coach there?
So my business partner, Andrew Vidal, actually I say his name wrong all the time. I think it's Vidal. To be honest, I can't say it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew Vidal. He is the head instructor, my business partner. He is the man that's there dealing with the majority of the on the site, you know, doing things there. But I'll do the back end work, so dealing with the accounts, dealing with the leads, dealing with the landlord. And I try to take as much load off of him as possible, but he's the guy that's really, you know, spearheading this thing.
That's smart. And it affords you the opportunity to continue to invest time into your training and level your game up.
That's the whole thing. It's
which builds up the brand.
Exactly. I mean, I love the gym. I love everything, but first and foremost, the short-term goals are athletic, and it's like there's a small window of time that I have to capitalize. Dude. I mean, we're talking about the seminar. It's like, what's your training schedule like? It's like I'm pretty much training every day because I started so late.
Yeah.
So I don't have the luxury of taking these massive days off or long vacations.
Dude, I get around so many of these guys in jiu-jitsu, and I got nothing but love for the community, but they get kind of hyper obsessive and like insert themselves into this community. Then I love jiu-jitsu, but I'm like, and they want to get paid off of it. And I know what the fuck it took to build a life through this. It's 100% commission. And I look at everybody as 100% commission, whether or not they, you know what I mean, that they're
sales, right?
1099, everything sales, and you get into this world, what you put out of it. And I'm like, and I look at these guys and they want to get paid off jiu-jitsu, and I'm training maybe 75% as much as they are. And like, I'm like, how am I training, you know what I mean, like 3/4 as much as you, and you want to get paid off this? And I don't consider like myself training that hard, you know what I mean? 3-4 days a week I'll go in and get an hour, 2 hours in, and maybe I'll pay for a private session. So I calculate it by numerically mat time, you know what I mean? I'll make references to life insurance. When somebody's like, well, how do I get rich in the insurance industry? And I just kind of reference it to like, well, do you do any sports? And if they say wrestling or jiu-jitsu, I'll be like, okay, well, how'd you get better at wrestling? Mat time, reps. I'm like, well, that's the same shit here. You know what I mean? Your ability to monetize and the quality and the level and the depth of monetization that you're going to pull from this industry is going to directly correspond with, it's not going to be how like fucking lucky you are and talented, because we'll have those like Nicky Rods come in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a rarity. You know, but sustainability in business, it's going to be mat time. It's going to be time here.
It's the same thing. I mean, that's just all skill progression, right? It's like, that's just skill progression in general. It's like, practice. You got to spend more time. You get what you put out into it. That's why, like, I mean, you probably have an affinity towards jiu-jitsu because it is kind of merit-based, just like sales is like, you know, if you grind your ass off, you're going to make a shit ton of money in sales. If you grind your ass off in jiu-jitsu, you're going to get better at jiu-jitsu. So it's like, they kind of go hand in hand. So it's like, I see a lot of similarities with jiu-jitsu in sales. In general,
It's one of my favorite analogies when I use. It's unfortunate a lot of my guys don't do jiu-jitsu, but hypothetically they know about it because I'm a black belt in this office. But but I make a lot of references to it. But man, so who were you closest to growing up? Who inspired and influenced you into being, you know, the man you are today?
So that's definitely it's hard to say. So
I know there's seasons. There's probably seasons of people that have really poured into you.
Exactly.
Who are a few of those people?
So
then?
the first one definitely is going to be my mother, right? She takes it to an extreme though, where as like I'm kind of a balance, but she genuinely believes like, you know, you can do anything in the world as long as you like work incredibly hard for it. So that's kind of where I got the idea that I can even try to pursue this. Right? Like, cause I was in college, I come from a traditional, pretty much. My mom's side is Filipino, so it's like a very traditional family. Both of my grandparents are very well educated, you know, professionals in their field. And when I started jiu-jitsu and I started thinking that like maybe I can try to pursue this if I give my all into it. When I brought it up to my mom was the first person to be like, yeah, fuck it, do it.
Yeah.
Like, go for it. Like I know you'll work hard and try to achieve it. So go ahead and do it. And it's like when I told my grandparents, tears go down their eyes. They're like, I can't believe this. Like they basically think, I mean, who the hell knew what could happen from it? I had no idea.
Yeah.
I just knew that like, all right, say if it failed, all right, I go back to college for a couple of years, get my degree, go do what I was doing anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So my mom definitely is a person that says that you can do anything. It doesn't matter what anybody says.
Yeah.
If you work hard for it, you'll get what's yours pretty much. Definitely my grandpa, I call him my Lolo.
Yeah.
Incredibly intelligent but hardworking man. So like I come from a family of like very hardworking people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of instilled.
Was
in me.
he an immigrant? Was he first generation?
Yeah, first generation. I mean, he's an engineer, a mechanical engineer. He works like it's aerospace essentially. Like he deals with like fuel cells with
very intelligent.
Super fucking intelligent.
Yeah.
It's like I'm the idiot in my Filipino side. Like my cousins are doctors, are lawyers, are accountants, are like these professionals that in my opinion, when I look at it, I'm like, you are actually making society way better. Like you are really pushing society forward and something to be proud of, which I am proud of the things that I've done, but it's like I see jiu-jitsu for me as a somewhat selfish quest that I'm on. It's like, it's because I enjoy it so much that I'll give my all to it. And it's like, I do help people along the way. You know, like my gym does a lot for charity and stuff like that. But at the core of it, it's like, I did it because it's something that I love, not something that I thought like would make society better, which some people like, the doctors in my family, like, I really want to help people. I'm like, that's freaking awesome for you. Cause damn, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro. That's fire. And as you transition into jiu-jitsu and then you become a manager and then you open up your own, when did you become fully financially independent when it came to, or let me say fully financially dependent upon your own athleticism and your jiu-jitsu?
Man, honestly, it's like it wasn't until like it was years, man. I guess it had to have been when I decided to actually open up the gym, honestly. It's like I got very lucky. So from my own actual accolades, I had like nothing like until late purple belt. It was really nothing. I decided to open up a gym inside of a Muay Thai gym, and they only charged me $300 rent.
Yeah.
Right. So I was able to build a program and then now have a few $1,000 a month. And I was like, oh man, I can live on top of still managing Gary's and stuff like that, teaching privates and shit. But it was a grind. It was like I couldn't really save until late purple belt. Actually, maybe mid purple belt.
So is that 4 years in?
Man, it must have been 4.5, 5 years in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when did you start training?
Started training at 18, just before my 19th birthday. So maybe 22, 23. Yeah, 23 is when I opened up my gym.
Okay.
So just before during 22 is when I was able to get consistent private lessons, which I'd say the private lessons is actually what allowed me to be financially independent. But it's like, it's due to me training with John and Gary.
Yeah.
The students there were like Gary's private lessons at the time were like $500 versus I was charging them for like $80 to $100.
Yeah.
Whatever. So like they were just outpriced. So then I got lucky in the sense that they wanted to learn the same thing from John. So then I was able to teach consistent privates, like 3, 4, 5 privates a week on top of Gary's income and stuff like that. And then when I opened up my own gym, I got lucky enough to sublet inside of a Muay Thai gym to where I can build a program inside there. So it was like, 4.5, 5 years in. Was
that the first seed, being in that Muay Thai gym, that started to intrigue you with striking?
No, I always liked striking. I saw Gary come up in it, and I saw him doing MMA. I always liked MMA. So to be honest, when I was like a kid, UFC always intrigued me. Like I thought it was super cool, but I didn't like the idea that it could be these meatheads fighting each other. Like I didn't enjoy that. Then Gordon actually decided that he wanted to try to pick up some striking too, and he needed a partner. So then I started partnering with him for privates after class with John, and then John started to explain that actually there is an intelligent way to fight, and if you are more intelligent than your opponent, you can essentially win the fights in a safer way. There's always that risk.
Yeah.
But when I started to understand that there was that ability to train or to fight intelligently, that's really what allowed me to dive deeper. I was like, oh, this is something I'll put my time into, because I didn't want to put my time into something that I felt like it's just a coin flip now. Like,
yeah,
I'm really tough. Everyone's tough. Who wants it more? Everyone fucking wants it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see a certain way to actually, navigate this chaos, and then get that win.
Just read the samurai book on this samurai that Joe Rogan recommended from his podcast, Miyato Musashi or something like that. And it was like dissecting strategical fighting. And I figured I'd pull some things out of it analytically for business and things like that. But it reminds me of a lot of like Danaher, of like just breaking, like just how, like every time I hear anybody talk about like BJJ Fanatics and watching any of his film, just how technical he is with breaking down every single detail, and how sometimes it can be a little wordy, but like how, the dude is a precision master. He's a technician, like you were talking about earlier. Yeah. He's like, the dude's an extreme technician. So I think that's extremely valuable, but also want to jump back into 4 or 5 years in before you're financially dependent. And now, how many years total are you into jiu-jitsu now?
So I'm over 7 years, about 7.5 years. So it's like, it's fairly recent that I was able to be like, okay, I can finally like survive.
Yes.
Everything was spending money to get to the city and just trying to train my ass off. Like that was everything. And that's what people don't understand. It's like, because you put the same amount of time into jiu-jitsu, into literally any other industry, and you'll like develop, you'll get 6-figure income. You'll be a master in your craft. Like this is what people don't understand, is like, it takes so much work to get financially independent, and then squeeze as much to be able to monetize it as much as possible. It takes so much work. And it's like, unless you genuinely love the sport, it's like you're much better off going to try to pursue this just as obsessively in any other industry.
Yeah, literally. I get so intrigued by you guys, because I'm like, dude, fuck, you guys would be like fucking billionaires. Like life insurance. I'm like, but it's I respect it, because I'm like, dang, dude's willing to let his legs get blown out for $100,000.
For fucking $100,000, let alone $1,000 in a blue belt tournament.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm like 90. What percent do you think honestly is like making over 6 figures in the jiu-jitsu community?
Dude, it's
without, let's say with owning a gym.
Yeah,
because I feel like that's the only hope.
With owning a gym, I think I think a good portion of the gym owners, along with privates, along with competition, I think they can definitely make 6 figures. But I think the vast majority of competitors, it's like I don't even know what percentage. It's a small percentage.
Have you ever heard horror stories of like these competitors that obviously hit adulthood, and I think after like 24, 25, 26, you got to be on your own health insurance, and then don't have health insurance and get something just blown out, and like
I mean, I'm 26. I have to deal with health insurance too, actually.
Yeah, so. 26, you have to deal with health insurance, but like somebody that is not in the financial position that you are, but is obsessed with the sport and is trying to build up, you know what I mean? Like now they blow, like one of the worst things that happened to me as a kid is I messed up my labrum or something with my shoulder. You know what I mean? It's like I couldn't imagine tearing my shoulder apart. Surgery. And like, you know what I mean?
Not being able to
afford it. And like you just put 4 years into jiu-jitsu, and like this is, you're 22 to 26, and you know what I mean? Like that was your dream, hope, and vision. And it's like, now what?
Yeah, I mean, fuck, it's not an easy road to go. I mean, granted, like I do think, like, this kind of comes from like my mother. It's like, all right, where there's a will, there is a way. Like you will be able to figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
It's not going to be fucking easy. It's not going to be pretty. I don't even know the answer right now. But
it's to me, it's still, I think what I like to invest time and even throw some money into it. You know what I mean? Like I like to throw money at the Midwest Finishers and try to sponsor and things.
Yeah.
Because I look at it from an outside perspective as just like still an untapped market, and with individuals like B Team and Gordon, you guys are bringing something. I feel like to if we just label it as like the individual jiu-jitsu niche, that is like pioneering like a flow of income. You know what I mean? Like just seeing everything that's going on, I feel like I feel like give this shit like 5-10 years, and you know what I mean. I feel like you guys seeing that one old dude, you know, that was an ADCC. That, you know, I hate to disrespect him like that, but there was a dude in his late 30s that was actually competing. I forget the dude's name, but I'm like, you guys definitely got, you know, a good 10, 15 years of competing in you guys. You know what I mean? Like Joe Rogan always says, you know, athletes, especially with like fighters, it's like 30s that you like peak out. Yeah, those early 30s, like that peak. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, but I feel like money, like more so than you know what I mean, Gordon being labeled the millionaire of the jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's going to be a lot more money flowing through jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, well, I think just in general, the sport is growing. So you see there's different avenues of monetization. First, it's like, I don't even think you have to be a high-level athlete to actually make good money. Like, I see a lot of people so online industry really changed the game. Like, whether like online instructionals, which is like, that's pretty much the majority of all of our income is going to be from online instructionals, like instructional sales. But then you see there's like these subscription-based services that some of these guys subscribe to. I know like social media actually really helps, like YouTube and Instagram help drive sales. Like there's a guy like Jiu-Jitsu who was actually one of the first guys that I looked at when I first started Jiu-Jitsu. Was his name Jiu-Jitsu, but he's not that like, he doesn't have that many accolades as far as Nogi, right? Yeah. But he has a huge brand, a huge following, and you know, great gym, multiple gyms, and then pretty successful. So it's like, I think if you're creative and you're a hustler, I think you can make anything work. Yeah, is kind of like how it works, right? It's like you have to be, or you have someone like Craig, right? So Craig didn't win ADCC, he took silver, and then now the whole brand is, you know, all I see is silver. It's B silver team. Medal energy, B team. Yeah. The reason it's B is because, you know, he's like, you know,
Nicky Rod says it's the best team.
That's Nicky Rod. Nicky Rod hated the idea of B team. He's like, fuck that. But you know, the whole idea of B team is like, he's just marketing the crap out of it. And like, I think when it goes to marketing, I think Craig is probably the best in the sport right now.
I think he's the best.
Yeah, it's like everything that
Miata video was the funniest.
The Miata video, man.
That was the funniest video I've ever seen.
Dude, I don't know how the hell he thinks about this. Like, it's like he does such a good job with it. So
what? Holy fuck!
Oh shit!
Aaliyah, come kill this.
No. Comment. People in the comments will be like, I can't believe you killed that spider.
Yeah, I'm gonna get canceled for that.
Yeah. But man. Yeah, I think you know, there's a lot of creative ways that weren't available you know, maybe a few years ago when I first started. So it's like, I think it is easier for younger like athletes to make money. Yeah. Like you see blue belt tournaments now for like $1,000, $2,000.
Yeah.
It's like,
Midwest Finishers, they've been giving out a couple bands each time, and I'm like,
yeah. So it's like there's ways that you can market yourself and you know, make a living. But the whole idea is like, you got to be training and then trying to get to that highest level as quickly as possible. Yeah. Yeah.
Do straight ankle locks work on you?
Hell yeah, they work on me. They work on anyone. They'll fucking...
I don't know, dude. I seen this video of Craig Jones getting his foot down to like the ballerina, down to like the floor.
He's definitely... I mean, he spends a lot of time in ballerina shoes. Yeah. Is the thing. So that's the secret. Like he says, you know, it's like I have flexible ankles, but it's like, of course, when you actually wear ballerina shoes and you have tights on, you know, of course it's going to be harder for him to get straight ankle lock.
I heard he does ballerina classes. So.
Yeah. He seems like the guy too. Right?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he seems like it. What are you most excited about for the upcoming future, next 5 years or so?
Yeah,
What's the
5
vision?
years. I mean, so the whole idea for me is like, I needed, when the goal became MMA, it was like I needed to get, in order to do MMA to the best of my ability, the safest route. It's like I needed to get world-class jiu-jitsu. Yeah, that was really because I was like maybe late blue belt, just got my pro belt when I started MMA. Yeah, with John and Gary. And my whole thing was that I need to get world-class grappling. So then when I go to MMA, because I feel like the majority of the highest level UFC fighters or MMA fighters that use grappling, when they leave and you know, they're retired, they're not punch drunk. not slurring their words.
Yeah,
they're
that's
not
true.
like you know they're pretty coherent. But you look at the greatest strikers, like man, a lot of them are kind of like slurring their words. Sounds like they're drunk, and I'm just like shit. That's a scary thing.
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson, man, yeah, it's like it's not something that is motivating. But when you look at the grapplers, it's like okay, that's something that at least there's a safer way to do it. So I feel like I have that high level grappling now. I'm still getting better every day. But I go pro in August, and then I'll continue just developing.
Do you have a card? Is it a card or an organization? I don't know what the
I'm going to be developing under Fury FC. It's a Texas-based organization. So I'll be getting the majority of my maybe.
Do they do hydration tests, or is it just?
So only one championship does hydration tests.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that's important?
No, I don't think it. I don't think so. So the thing is, the whole idea, the reason these organizations want to do hydration tests is to try to stop the weight cut, right? They don't want you to cut this mass amount of weight, right? So you're going to be very dehydrated, and then that's the whole idea. So one championship does it. So their featherweight in one championship is 155, whereas the featherweight in UFC is 145, right? But what people do is they drink normally, or they overhydrate their body. There's some sensitivity. Like you can't, if you're overhydrated, you still fail. So they have to have, there's some play that they have to figure it out. But they drink a decent amount of water, then they cut 15, 20 pounds of water, and they just hold their piss in. So like you can lose a lot of water in a sauna with a sauna suit, jogging, shadow boxing. Like you lose 15 pounds, arguably in like 2 hours, not even, right? And they just force themselves to not pee. They get on the scale, they pass that, they piss, then they go rehydrate. So it's like there's always these loopholes around it. Yeah. And like that was the whole thing with UFC. They stopped IVs, right? Because they tried to stop people from weight cutting, but people still just weight cut and then just try to hydrate properly is the thing. It's like so I don't think it really does anything. I was wondering like what is the best way for these weight classes to try to stop the weight cut, because the weight cuts suck and it's really killing these people.
Have you ever had a scary weight cut?
A scary one? No. I never had a scary one. The lowest I've cut was 145 for competition, and then I was supposed to do a 135 one. I got to about 142, and then the actual organization called the card off. I was like a blue belt at the time. Yeah. So I was doing like some shit.
What do you walk?
I walk around 162 right now. Okay. 162, 163. So 145 is a pretty standard one for me. It sucks. It's not good. Yeah. But it's like it's manageable, no problem. For ADCC, for ADCC, I was like the runner up, so I had to make weight, and you make weight the same day, actually day before and the day of, and
you have to make weight day of ADCC,
day before, so that you can make the day of, and then if you make it to the second day, you have to weigh in again. Yeah, so it's shit. Yeah. It's super bad. So then that one was the toughest, but that's because I was trying to get my body weight as close to the actual weight cut as possible, so I didn't have to cut that much water. Yeah. But for MMA, I'm gonna have to cut to 135, so I'm not looking forward to that shit.
Yeah, no, not at all. So Fury champion at featherweight, and then have you thought further out, or is that just the immediate big goal? Yeah.
So I'll fight a few featherweight fights probably, but I'm really gonna be a bantamweight there. Maybe I'll do featherweight. I haven't fully decided yet. Yeah. But, the goal is high level MMA. So whether that's one championship, UFC, even Bellator, I really have no care. I just want to be the ultimate goal really is UFC gold. Right? Yeah. That is the goal, but things change. Maybe an organization pays better than whatever. It's no big deal.
Yeah. I was at you. I don't know if you watched football growing up or anything like that.
I watched growing up, but I didn't watch. I stopped.
Yeah, I haven't watched football in forever. Yeah. I haven't watched that shit in forever. But I was at an event with my partner in Pittsburgh, and I was there with James Harrison. Yeah. So, and he was talking about just football in general. He's like, man, it was really just a game to me, and like for me, I always had to look at taking care of myself before what others thought about me, fans, friends, and even family. I had to look at like what was the best thing for me. You know what I mean? So like when he left the franchise, the Steelers, because I'm from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people like Trader.
I actually was a Steelers fan growing up.
Yeah. See, I've always been. I grew up in Arkansas. You know what I mean? So I was in Arkansas till I was 10, and then I was in Pittsburgh. My mom grew up in Pittsburgh. So when my parents split up, I moved with my mom to Pittsburgh with my sister, and so I was Pittsburgh after that, but always deep down Dallas Cowboys. But he was talking about, he's like, and I think everybody has to do better at that. Is like, because I think it's not always the individuals like haters or like even friends that we let kind of like coerce us into the decisions we want to make. It's our family, and our family, obviously they have the best, not necessarily our best interest at heart, but I think it's more so a safety interest at heart. They just want us to be safe. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it sometimes that safe decision in the long run ends up hurting us more than us doing what's best for us, chasing that dream. So it was cool to hear him say, like, man, I had to just do what was best for me opposed to what was best for family and friends, like different things like that. So hearing you say that, you know what I mean, it just kind of, I think for listeners out there that are like in that tough spot or things like that, because when people are getting in the insurance industry, it's one thing I'm always like, bro, make sure you do what's best for you and just in life in general. It's like, don't think about me. And it's hard to tell people, it's like, sometimes you can't think about mom and dad. You got to think like, this is your life. You got to live it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? And it's like, so I get a lot of, questions like from aspiring athletes or aspiring jiu-jitsu fighters that just started or whatever. Yeah. And it's like, I'll never tell someone to not chase their dreams. Yeah. Because like people did it to me all the time, right? Yeah. But it's like, you really have to. A lot of people I don't think understand like how hard it is to make it in jiu-jitsu compared to another industry. Like, oh God, it's like you can live comfortably. You can go like I have a girlfriend, right? And my girlfriend's fully on board, and I'm just like, we're not going to be taking all these different vacations. Like we can make seminar tours as a vacation, but it's like I don't have the luxury to take weeks off at a time to go, treat you to wherever. Yeah. Like I am a gym rat, like through and through. Yeah. And that's because I have this X goal. And she's like, I know what I signed up for, yada, yada, yada. Yeah.
But that's important, dude.
It's very important. But, I still get like the guilt because it's like, especially with social media, it's like you see everyone, they're going here for this month. They're going here for this month. And it's like, that would be nice. But it's like, I cannot let a situation where it's like, all right, I did make it to the highest level, but I lost because I didn't take the time off this time. Like my body won't let me. Yeah. It's already so hard to become successful. You have to line up everything in your favor. Yes. To give yourself the best shot. Like the only thing you can control is pretty much your training. Yes. And it's like, you better fucking put your all into it. That's why I named my gym All In event. Like that was actually my first gym name was called All In, is because that's what I felt like you had to do to try to make it. There's so many people that try to do this for 2 years, 3 years. Like I tried so hard. I'm like, you don't understand. Like honestly, what was super inspiring to me was when I was first under Gary, was because Gary was doing it for 10 years before able to actually make a true living.
That's a sweet number. Any like multimillionaire or anybody that I've met that's hyper successful, that's the number that always comes up. Like, I don't care what industry. It's like 10. The jiu-jitsu, like, what's the average amount of time it takes to get your black belt? I always fucking
Everyone says 10
years. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, man, that 10, I don't know what it is. It's a sweet number across all industries.
Yeah. But it's like, there's that in 10 years. It's not like 10 years to get your black belt. It's like, for him, it was 10 years of training 3 times a day, every day. Yeah. To then finally be able to really make some money in it. And it's like, it's not for everyone, and it could really break people down. Yeah. So it's like, you really have to, what's your resolve? Like, how bad do you really want this? Yeah. Why do you want this? Is this something that just like, you're having fun with it? It's like, you should do this as a hobby, but you should get another job that, pays the bills and stuff. Absolutely. Because it's like, if you're not willing to fucking not go out, to not take these weekends off, to not go on that vacation. It's fire. It's like, that's fire. That's what it takes, man.
That's fire. As we wrap up, I'm always curious, because pretty much outside of work and working out, for me, it's just movies. Do you have any, not much time, obviously we know that, but are there any hobbies that...
hobbies. I shoot occasionally. I haven't got shooting in a while, actually. I play piano a little bit. Yeah. But it's nothing serious.
Guns. You shoot guns?
I shoot guns, okay, cool. Yeah. as soon as like my girlfriend moved out to Texas, first thing we got her a Glock.
You ever hunt?
I never went hunting. I really want to go
my hunting license over there. It's
Dude,
it's right there.
Fuck. I would love to go hunting.
I grew up like small game hunting.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't hunted in forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The biggest things I've ever killed rabbit and squirrels and things like that. Which you probably being in Texas, you probably have eaten it. I grew up in Arkansas, so we eaten the craziest shit.
I've never eaten rabbit or anything.
Yeah, rabbit, squirrel,
Austin's arguably not even Texas.
Yeah, it was pretty city when I went there.
Yeah,
I was like, this is still city-ish. So, I guess the shooting. Well, what do you have a favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Shit. I mean, I like comedy. I like Step Brothers.
Step Brothers
is
gold
a
movie.
Yeah, quality movie. But I do like anime. So I'm more of a show guy, if anything. Like
the fucking Dragon Ball Z at all.
I'm not a big Dragon Ball Z fan. Nikki Ryan.
Yeah.
Huge Dragon Ball Z fan.
Yeah.
I like Naruto. That was my
Like
I mean I like any anime really. I do like, just because like Goku's a savage too. But it's like anytime where one guy trains extremely hard to try to achieve like that whole fucking arc. So Naruto, I love that. Anything that has, their main character just training, grueling training, constant training to then become this powerful, being that I'm a sucker for those.
Favorite fighter.
Have to say, John Jones is definitely everyone. Either John Jones or GSP.
Yeah.
GSP is a strong second, and then
he trains with Danaher a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've trained with him a bunch. He's a super cool dude. Yeah. I mean, he for the longest time he was my favorite fighter. He's actually the guy that I thought like MMA was the coolest because of him.
Yeah.
Growing up, super nice dude. He sparred a bunch, trained jiu-jitsu a bunch before. Super, great guy. John Jones, there's just something to be said, like just how dominant he was though. It's just like super fucking cool.
Insane.
Yeah, and then this is gonna go against most people, but Conor McGregor is honestly up there too. Just like what he did, not even like, I mean, grappling skills obviously aren't there, but it's like as far as the showmanship,
he changed the UFC
exactly
at least a few percent, which is for $1 billion company, massive.
Dude, I mean, he exploded like on the scene, was talking a bunch of shit, knocking people out.
Yeah.
And it was just, so it's like. Old Conor, I'd say. Old Conor was definitely up there. I was like, man, that guy, you just want to watch him,
He's going to get another fight, I feel like.
Well, he's supposed to fight Chandler, right? That's supposed to happen,
I think
right?
so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a smart. He shouldn't be fighting anymore.
I don't know. He looked like he ran a Gordon stack, so he
looks
like
dude, he's fucking huge
fucking
now. He's
yoked, man.
Yeah.
Definitely on that cholesterol juice, but
yeah, Jesus.
What was the last thing? So, favorite fighter, well, before I jump into the last question, which will be favorite food, you can think on that, but John Jones versus Stipe Miocic, is that what they're talking about?
Yeah, I think that's
how do you think that goes?
Yeah, I think John Jones, man. I think he's the only reason he's my favorite above GSP. I like GSP way more.
Yeah.
Right? Especially as a human, like GSP is just the nicest dude ever, but I think John Jones is the greatest of all time. Like when you look at striking, wrestling, grappling, it's like dominance as well. Like the dude's, man, he's a beast. Never lost, right? Well, never lost.
Yeah.
He got like a 12-6 elbow loss. That's his loss. But
you're in Fury fights. Is there any weird, like, because when fucking what's the dude's name from Demetrius when he went over was it Demetrius Johnson? When he went over to is it one? You can like kick on the floor or something,
yeah,
bro.
Knee on the floor. So nothing like that in Fury, but
Holy
in one,
shit.
He got knocked out clean. He did get the knockout back.
Yeah.
But he was coming up on an elbow and then got kneed in the head.
It's kind of like what you were talking about in the seminar today when we transitioned in a little bit of MMA, like making sure you're placing takedowns properly, like strike two takedown, so you don't catch anything.
Yeah,
on the
man,
way
it's
down.
a scary thing. Like there's an art. John called it shoot boxing, but like the whole idea of strikes into takedowns, using the strikes to set up your takedowns. Because man, if you just shoot these naked takedowns, you can get caught.
I always think
scary,
about that, like,
man. It's
fuck that.
It's scary. I remember before my first fight, I'm literally in the back about to walk out, and I'm watching the fight that's happening. The guy gets head kick KO'd.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, is this, like, that shit cannot happen. I got my family there.
Yeah.
I have, like, so many people watching. I'm like, this cannot happen to me.
We used to throw headgear on in our basement, and we would just scrap around with the most unconventional technique, just your typical high school street fighting. I boxed for like a year, but like as a young kid, so like 1, 2, and a little bit of this stepping, but not enough for it to be like. But I got this stupid little like head kick, and I head kicked my boy, and he like.
You got starched?
Yeah, he like locked out, and I was like so like worried. I was like, but he was like he was still there, like his fit. But I was like. Everyone's like, what the, you know what I mean? Like, and it was, it was such a fucking like weird thing to see and experience. Man. I'm like, dude, there's no way I would need millions to let somebody be like doing professionally head kicking me. Like, oh my God.
Dude, I remember when I've only knocked one person out. Like,
I wanted to bring that up. Was the palm strike, bro? Yeah. What was that like,
bro? So that was a weird feeling. Like I think it was weirder because the crowd didn't know it was going to happen. Like, it's a jiu-jitsu crowd, not an MMA crowd.
What the hell?
Yeah, jiu-jitsu and MMA crowds are very different. Like, jiu-jitsu crowd's pretty quiet.
Yeah, really awkward. Every now and then. Awkward.
Yeah, MMA crowds are just drunk guys. Like, like that, right? And, I'm in Mexico. The guy is, like, hometown favorite, whatever. And then I knock him out with a palm strike. And I raise my hand, and then everyone is just, like, quiet. And, like, I was like, oh, shit. Like, this is kind of bad. And then the guy's like laying on the ground. It's so quiet that you hear him like moaning. He's like, I'm like, oh fuck, this is like, so like I like help him up. I'm like, we're like walking off the thing. I was like, dude, it wasn't a good feeling, to be honest.
Yeah,
like, it wasn't like,
because the crowd made, if they were like, it would have been a little different. Like receiving, like did they announce you as like winner?
Well, yeah, I mean he couldn't. I was the only person in the center, that got his hand raised. That my opponent had to get like walked off, but it was a weird feeling. It wasn't good. Like. It was a bad feeling, to be honest. Yeah. But I mean, when I looked at social media, hypes it up. So then, like, when I look at it, I'm like, I'm a fucking killer. Yeah. But when it happened, man, I was like, oh shit, this is real. Like, I don't know, man. It's an odd feeling. An odd feeling for sure.
That's insane, dude. Yeah, that's insane. Here's the last one. Yeah. Favorite food or restaurant?
Yeah, favorite food. So definitely favorite. Actually not definitely, but. Top two, it's going to be either Filipino food or Jamaican food. For Jamaican food, oxtail, my favorite braised oxtail. But second is a Filipino food called kare-kare, which is also just happens to be oxtail as well. It's like a oxtail in a peanut sauce or whatever. So those two are my favorites. Yeah.
That's fire, man.
Yeah.
Well, Damien, this was dope, bro.
Appreciate it.
And anything you want to shout out to market or get out to people?
Yeah, check out bjjdamien.com. That's my instructional site. And then B Team New Jersey. That's in Middlesex, New Jersey.
Cool. Well, guys, this was Damien Anderson. You guys can find him pretty much on all social media. BJJ
Damien. Damien.
Let's go. Well, peace. Thank you, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.